and then we call it a day. That means nobody wants to listen, or nobody should listen, or it's not important. Okay, so I hope everyone has submitted. After you attempt the quiz, you just click on submit. We will be able to see the score here. So if we see below 30, I'm going to be very happy, because that means I have to explain myself or take it gradually. But where everybody is scoring 100 or 90, I'll talk very fast and we can leave here. Is that a great deal? I know you're all muted, so each time you want to respond, just go to the chat and then respond there. Either you say yes, or you say no, or you give me an answer and we proceed. Those just joining us, I believe you have attempted the quiz. Sometimes in the class like this, someone you will ask and then someone will say, where is the quiz? The quiz is in the WhatsApp, or if you look at the chat, it's there. We use it to assess knowledge before the test, before the presentation. That allows us to know how to talk to you. Our system is a bit slow this time. We don't know why. I'm trying to view your scores. It's going to pop up in a while. All right, while I wait for it, gentlemen, I welcome you again to today's session. We'll be dealing with today's module. We will be dealing with two sections. The first section is the feasibility study, and then the second one is your business plan. We will talk about what feasibility study is, and generally what we're expected to do under feasibility study. We'll move to the second section, which is the business plan. We will talk about the list, or the minimum which we expect from a usual business plan. Now, for some of you that may have taken this course somewhere before, this will be like a repetition. And those of you that have not taken this course before, I enjoin you to listen to whatever we have to say, because you might be attending this course compulsorily because of the loan at this time. There are times that you'll be needing money that goes far beyond what the NISA microfinance can offer. And so you will be needing, or you will have to do a feasibility study and a business plan sometime in the near future. I'm sure all of you are praying for your business to grow very big, to the extent that you'll be doing a feasibility study for 50 million, for 100 million. So that's the essence of why we're discussing this, for those of you that are already familiar with it. And then the other reason why we're even discussing this is to get us to become familiar with these terms and what they imply and why we need to do them. So we will proceed now. While I'm waiting for your scores, I've not seen the scores. I believe that it will load up soon, so that and if nobody has attempted it, once it loads up, I'm going to see that people have refused to attempt the quiz, and I will immediately raise a panel of inquiry to find out why those participants are protesting. All right, like I said, the first section is feasibility study. So we will, I'll need you to answer some questions so that I know that people are in my class. I know that I'm interacting with a couple of people, because we found out that in some classes, some people just put on their screen and then walk away. I prefer the one you interact with me and encourage me that you're listening to what I am saying. Okay, so this time around, can you write on the chat for me what, in your own words, is feasibility study? In your own words, what can you say feasibility study is? We are not asking you to give us any technical meaning. We are not asking you to come up with the best of all languages. Just anything that registers on your mind first, you write it as feasibility study. So you go to the chat, you write number 1, and then you write what you think feasibility study means. Whatever answer I get, I'm happy, whether it's wrong, whether it's right, whether it makes no sense, or whether it's highly sensible. It's not necessarily a place for you to test or tell the other participants you are great at this. It's just for the purpose of interaction and to get us to flow into the class. So I'm going to look at the chat now, the Zoom chat, and see who has responded, if I'm getting any response. Then the next thing you do is, after you have written an answer for the feasibility study, you can go ahead and write number 2, the difference between feasibility study and a business plan. Then you go to the number 3 and you write number 3, you write 3, and then you state any reason why you think people should do feasibility study. I know it's going to take some time while you respond for me to see the chat because of network, but I believe you are going to answer me. All right, so I'm looking at the chat, my chat now. I've not seen any response. In the first place, I believe you can hear me clearly. I hope you hear me clearly. If you can't hear me well, allow me to adjust my audio from here. Okay, beautiful. I've gotten my first answer. I've gotten my first answer. The second answer has come in. All right, now the class is, I'm getting happy now and excited. It means the class is alive. Okay. Oh, beautiful. More answers are coming in. Okay, number one. And it looks like they generally have a great idea of what feasibility study is. It looks like most of the answer is correct. Basically, to be sure that sure the business will work, yes, is a general assessment of a proposed plan or method to achieve a project or a business. Great. A proposed plan. Fine. Okay. I got only 3 responses. Okay, number 2. Write number 2 and then tell me the difference between feasibility study and a business plan. just say 2, you write the difference, whatever you think is the difference. And those of you that have fast finger, you can proceed to number 3. What are the reasons why we should do a feasibility study? Just any reason you think, you write it out. Okay, while I wait for more answers from you, um, I guess I should just proceed. So, what do we intend to discuss today? We intend to discuss, like I said earlier, we will be talking about. We'll be talking about 2 sections. The first section is the first section is feasibility study, and then the second section is business plan. I have 4 topics for us under feasibility study. That's under the first section. And that is number 1, what is even a feasibility study? Let's have a general discussion about a feasibility study. And I want us also to clearly understand what a feasible business is, so that we don't get it wrong. For you to know that, okay, this business is feasible, is running, and it can sustain itself. And then next one we'll go into is topic 2 is what could be the objective of even a feasibility study? What are the objectives? Why is it important for you to do a feasibility study? I think that's similar to one of the questions that we asked earlier. Okay, then the next thing we'll look at is shortcomings. Shortcomings that we have observed with feasibility study. Then number 3, we want to know how do you even go about a feasibility study? That's a little more practical now. Before you get to the field, what should you note? Just a few things that you should note as you are going to the field. And then number 4, when you return from the field, we expect you to do us a feasibility study report. What are the components? What are some of the things that we should find in your feasibility study report? That's some of the things that we'll be discussing under 4. Afterwards, we'll take a minute break or max or no break at all. Then we'll move to section 2, which is business plan. Okay, let me get back. It appears I have some chat responses at the chat section. Let me see. Okay, I think I'm getting more answers. Number 3, where we ask why should you do a feasibility study, is to rule out failure of proposed plan, to know the do's and don'ts of a project. These are great answers. Okay, number 2 is saying a proposed plan, strategies for achieving them. Number 2 is a proposed plan, then strategies for achieving them. Okay, the difference between a business plan and a feasibility study. Another answer for number 2 is if the business is feasible, then you come up with a plan. Okay, interesting answer. All right, once the business appears feasible, then you do a plan for the business. So in other words, feasible is trying to see whether something is going to work, and then plan is actually how to put it up. All right, thank you very much for the responses. I'm happy with it now, with this response. Okay, back to the topics for the outline for today. The first one is feasibility study. So what is a feasibility study? Like we asked, most of you have given us the definitions that we need. But here is what I have earlier for those of you that do not have an answer for me or for reference purposes. Whenever you do an analysis of what? When you're analyzing the viability of an idea. So there are 3 keywords in a feasibility study. We have analysis, we have viability, and we have idea. It starts with an idea. Do you have an idea? What could be your idea? Your idea might be you just want to sell something. Your idea might be you want to manufacture something. Your idea could be anything. I'm sure most of you have an idea. In fact, if you don't have an idea, you will likely not be in this class. Any person you find in this class without an idea, the person is simply trying to see if he can collect the money, the loan. And most of the time, such persons will don't know what they have put on ground to repay such funds, such loans. So, having said that, it means you all have an idea. Your idea could be anything. The next word is this idea viable? We don't know until we analyze this your idea. You don't know until you analyze your own idea. And an idea can occur to anybody. You could be sleeping in your room, you could be in your bathroom or somewhere, and an idea will occur to you. If I do this thing, I'll be able to sell it. If I do this thing, people will ask for it. Or before you even come up with an idea, you may notice that some people have started asking you, why don't you give me this thing? Why don't you give me this thing and I'll pay for it? Okay, so that's an idea. So we want to find out, is this idea viable? Is this idea, can it work? Can it bring money? How do you know if an idea is viable or not? Until you do an analysis of that idea. What's all these words by using analysis, viability, idea? Let me give you an example. Uh, if you want to manufacture a machine that can feed people, you go to the dining seat, you sit there, and then the machine feeds you, and you stand up and walk away. If you have such plans, it's an idea. So you want to know whether it's a viable idea. It's viable when people buy them, when people demand for them. All right. So we will go back and ask people, would you want a machine that can feed you? You just sit down, put your hands in your pocket, or rub your hands over your tummy and enjoy the meal. I bet you most of your questionnaires will come out, we don't need such machine. Why would people not need such machines? Because people prefer to use their hands or calories to enjoy their meal than to get a machine to feed them. So you will realize that your machine will only sell to those who have some incapabilities, maybe, or some health challenge or something. And so that idea is not feasible on the overall. That's the analysis. How do we know that the idea is not going to be feasible? Is by asking people. So let me ask you now, can you answer me in the chat now? Would you want to eat to be fed by a machine, or you want to use your calories to eat? Just let me know, machine or calorie, machine or calorie. So let's not even go into those. That hand and calorie will fall under the same category. So just write it on the chat. Let me see. That's how we analyze whether an idea is a great idea. And an idea can be great, but is it viable? Viable when you can sell it. So that's a short analysis we are doing. Let me see. Okay. All right. We're getting answers. Some people say calories, please, 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 please. There's another one. He said calories, of course. The other one is even shouting at me. He said hands. So, and we prefer to be fed by the calories. Okay, meaning that you want to be using your calories, not machines at all. I say, all right, okay. That's great. All right, so we have done an analysis. I've just spoken to just a few of us, and then we have arrived at. Okay, let me quickly read this answer. You say if there is no power to power the machine, how then I will not eat. So somebody is bringing up a problem already, that this machine needs to be powered, and I'm hungry and there's no light. So what do? I go home to sleep, or what should I do? Somebody is bringing up a problem already. These are the things that you do under feasibility study to find out whether this idea is viable. From your responses, it appears I'm going to have to ditch that idea. Okay, if the machine has issues, then what then? So I'm hearing that, okay, if the machine gets spoiled, what should we do? Are we going to go hungry, or what do we do? Or we have to call the technician to fix it first. You are bringing out the problems with this idea. The idea is, I want to manufacture a machine that can feed people. Is it going to be viable? Will people buy this machine? We're analyzing it, and from your responses, like the last one, I prefer hands, calorie. All right, all these responses I'm getting shows that I should ditch the idea from the beginning. It also applies to your business as at now. I mean, your own idea. Whatever idea you have at the moment, you need to do a viability analysis of that business. And if it's not viable, you just ditch it now and go back again to the drawing board, come up with another idea. I'm sure you cannot be short of an idea. Ideas are always flowing because there is always a problem that you need to solve. And there's, apart from a problem that you need to solve, there are people demanding for something that they see others using. If you look at some people in some places, you see that they are producing food and supporting their community by selling food in the market. You could replicate such things, so you don't have to necessarily come up with your own idea. All right, so we have just done the short feasibility study on the machine for feeding, and we realized that we should ditch this idea. Okay, I'm going to go back to someone responded to me, but privately, a definition of a business feasibility study. A feasibility study is an analysis that takes all of a project's relevant factors into account, including economic, technical, legal, and scheduling consideration to ascertain likelihood of completing the project successfully. You could see from the person's answer is saying the keyword there is completing the project successfully. Okay, so what are we saying? You say feasibility study focuses on helping answer the essential question: should we proceed with the project? So point 3 on the screen, if you look at it, it looks at, that's feasibility study, looks at the viability of an idea with an emphasis on identifying potential problems. An attempt to answer one main question: will the idea work? Should we proceed with it? So what were the problems with the machine? Some say power, some say what if it gets faulty? Now, you could attempt to answer some of these questions, and if your answers are good, then you proceed with it, such as what if we power the machine with solar? What if we power the machines with battery that can last for so long? What if you identify those problems, and then you attempt to answer them, you will now know whether you can proceed with the idea or not. All right. Okay, so from there we should be able to make up what definitions that's appropriate. Now, in the outline, I mentioned that we want to know what a feasible business is, right? So we have put forth 4 criteria for you to judge whether this business is feasible or not. So you use this checklist to check. So if your business check 1, check 2, check 3, check 4, then you are good to go. We can consider that business to be feasible. The first one we have here is that the business, will it generate adequate cash flow and profit? Someone will ask me, why do you put cash flow and profit together? Why don't we make it 5 points and say, can it generate adequate cash flow? Can it generate adequate profit? Number 2, and then number 3, and so forth and so on. Okay, I'll give you a short story why I had to put those 2 together. Maybe from your answer, I'll now know whether to separate them into 2 points or to leave them as 1 point. Okay, the next point in green, if you read it from the first part of the screen, which says a feasible business is one where the business will, underline the word will. Will, what does that connote? That connotes that it's going to happen. So will withstand the risk it will encounter. So there are 2 things we expect there: will withstand and then will encounter. So your business is going to meet risk. There's no doubt about that. The business could be positive. The business could be positive. The business could come out unfavorable, right? So we need to know which one is all right. So the 3rd one is can it remain viable in the long term? And then the fourth one is, can it meet the goals of the founder? So you put this checklist. What were my goals when I started? And then what about this business? Can it remain viable in the long run? Meaning that can this business be churning in money, or be people be looking for the product that it's producing over a long term? All right. So back to what I said. I said I'll ask. I'll tell you something to differentiate between cash flow and profit from your answer. So let me get two volunteers in the class. I learned my answers are loading up now. Once I finish section one, I'll go back to look at the answers again. I'll go back and look at your performance again. I learned that they have come up now. Okay, so I'm going to check it shortly. I'll check it shortly, but let me finish this one. I need two volunteers. Can you can I have the names of two persons? So you write it for me. I can see some names here, but I want you to write the name for me, the ones I'll use for my purpose. Just write one name, and then I just need two names. Can I see the names here now quickly? Okay, I just need two names. Okay, Williams. All right, Williams. Nelly is number one, and then I need the next person, another name, William Nelly. And why don't I use William and Nelly at the same time? Fine. I'm using the, since I'm not getting other name, let me use William and Nelly. These are two people, William and Nelly. William and Nelly, they sell oranges, right? They got to the market and bought oranges, 10 oranges, each for 10 naira. So William would have bought how much worth of orange? That would be 100 naira, right? Because I said 10 naira. So 10 times 10 oranges, we get what? 100 naira. Nelly also got to the same market, bought 10 oranges for 10 naira. And what we have, her spending 100 naira. Okay, so they all got back to the market. What did William do? William sold his oranges for 100 naira each and got how much? 100 times 10, that's 1,000 naira. And Nelly sold all her oranges for 200, right? I mean, each of them for 200. So 200 times 10, she's got what? 2,000 naira. How much profit did each of them make? William, 1,000 naira minus 100 naira he spent, that's 900. Nelly, 2,000 naira minus 100 naira, that is 1,900. That's the profit. There's something I didn't tell you about the two people. They have two business models. William sold all his for cash. He doesn't sell for credit or anything, all for cash. Whereas Nelly sold all hers for on credit. She's going to get the money some other day. You will notice that somebody has cash on him or her, right? William has cash of 1,000, whereas Nelly does not have any cash with her. But you will notice also that Nelly has made a profit of 1,009, whereas William made a profit of what? 900. Which of these two business models will you prefer? Can I see? Which of them will you prefer? These are two business models. Which one will you prefer? Okay, I'm back to the chat now. Someone says Williams model, cash at hand. Remember that Nelly will be paid soon. William, another person saying he wants Williams. Okay. All right, but what you need to also look carefully there is that you just need the two. I'm being told that soon is not guaranteed, meaning that even though Nelly is going to get her money soon, there's no guarantee that this money will come. I hear cash at hand. All right, but what we are saying here for a feasible business is the one that generates the two. Is the one that generates the two. Your business should generate both profit and your business should generate cash flow. When the two are coming in like that, then we will say your business is feasible. When your business is generating only cash, we have an issue. When it's generating only profit, we have an issue. What we want is your business to generate the two. And note the word there because it's not very easy to balance. We said, does it generate adequate cash flow? Does it generate adequate profit? Because these scenarios play together, that's why you see us putting that point as one single item. All right, so let me move to the next topic. Before I go to the next topic, I said there are things you should note. What we ask you to note here is if anybody has a business idea, the person should conduct a feasibility study. It's almost like a rule. We are not saying anything, it's just a rule. Anybody with a business idea, you should conduct a feasibility study. And then the second thing is what is it for? It's just to determine the viability of the idea before proceeding with it. All right, I have someone's hand raised. If you have a question, if you want the question, if you want to ask the question either by voice or by you can ask the question by chat or by voice, right? If you want to ask the question by voice, then I may be forced to ask that you can unmute yourself. But if you want to type it in the chat, I'm going to see it right away and I'll react to it. All right, your hand is raised. Okay, let me see if you want to talk. Okay, I have a question here. How is it an issue if you have just the profit model? Someone wants to know if the profit model is not just a better model. Since business is about profit, why are we running away? Some of the things that you have to bring on board is that you need cash to run this business. Every time you're doing your business, like in the first instance, you go to the market with 100 naira to buy the oranges. So when you sell all on credit, all of your products on credit, you will not have the 100 naira to go back to the market the following day. And when you don't go back to the market the following day, in our instance, William would have gone back to the market the following day and would generate another 900 profit. 900 plus 900, 1,800 in 2 days. Whereas you, Nelly, you have not gone back to the market. So you need some cash to run that business. Even though business is about, to answer the question, even though business is about profit, you need to balance profit and cash. You just need cash in as much as you need profit. And another issue somebody is raising is that if you are pursuing only profit and this your profit is at the risk, meaning that the person say it's not guaranteed. I heard someone say soon is not guaranteed. I said that Nelly will be paid soon. The person says soon is not guaranteed, meaning that we. All right. The things that I said we can note include what it's almost like a rule. Anybody with a business idea should conduct a feasibility study. You should also note the following: that a feasibility study will address where and how the business will operate. Look at it where and then how. Another point is that they provide in-depth details about the business. You know, like we raised the issue of feeding machine. By the time you start doing an analysis, you go in-depth about it. And importantly, that's why we put this third line here in blue. It serves as a valuable tool for developing a winning business plan. Once you've done your feasibility study, like in one of the definitions I got earlier, you will be able to use that same feasibility study to develop a great business plan. Whereas for those of you that will simply jump straight into the business plan, you are going to struggle because you will be imagining most of the feasibility in your head. So like we said, feasibility study can be used in many ways, but primarily to focus on your business. All right, if you go back to item one again, I said it will address things like where and how. Let's take a look at the where first. If you want to go into farming, where do you want to locate this your farm? It will address such issues. Should we locate the farm in central business district in Abuja, in one of the undeveloped plots? Would that be a great idea? Somebody might say yes, because once we cultivate those things or harvest those our items, produce, we will take them straight to the market. Market is very close. But another person will say, are you sure you have land permit? You have land use permit? Are you also sure that you can get enough size of land that you need for your business? Then another one, we said, how will the business operate? Should the business operate on a retail basis? Should the business operate on a wholesale basis? These are things that your feasibility study should bring out. So that's it for topic one. Let's go to topic two. I said topic two is what? Objectives, shortcomings, and then importance of feasibility study. The first objective, without discussing it, you can all agree with me, is to raise money. One, to raise money. Okay. So the next one is, it will help you determine something. What can you determine? Optimum facility mix to maximize revenue. All right. Am I making sense? Yes. To so many, I'll make sense. But for anybody that is not catching these terms we're using, if you recall what capacity utilization is, what we were told in secondary school or primary school, capacity utilization, when you put up a factory, you have a capacity to produce things. You can underutilize this capacity, you can use this facility to its maximum. But here we are talking about this facility. How do you mix it? What's the optimum mix? Maybe my example will clarify. If you want to start a transport, motorbike transport, in a rural area, and you go and do your check and realize that for every 1 hour, somebody leaves that village and comes back. And every day, 10 people leave that particular village. So what do you do? Is it enough for you to just buy 10 bikes so that the 10 people can use? It might not be the optimum facility mix, because what if you try out 2 bikes? The first one will pick the first person, and within that hour, it gets back. And then another one, you can use this other one, the second bike, to pick the next person who is available. The third person can use the first bike that you have brought. So you realize from my example that the optimum facility mix is for you to have 2 bikes and not for you to have 10 bikes. That will help you get your maximum revenue. The other, if you buy 10, the other 8 may not give you any revenue, because the maximum revenue will be coming from the first 2 bikes. All right, another point. To ensure that all the parties agree, or everybody to agree, both the nicer microfinance bank for them to agree, both or if you are into partnership, for everybody to agree, and even if you have children, for even your children to agree to it. If you have spouse, for your spouse to agree. If you have your parents, for them to agree. You don't just get into any business and you think everybody is going to agree. For example, if you get into a particular business and it needs you to cook meals in your house, and you take it out, and that's your family house, you will be waking up very early to cook when people are still trying to rest. So everybody has to agree to that particular feasibility. So that's part of the things you do in your feasibility. And if you notice that, oh no, you are waking people too early, 4 a.m., people are still resting, and you are moving around making lots of sound, then you may consider getting another site where everybody will resume there, do the cooking, and then you move your items, and then you come back when you're done with supply of the meals, and then you put them back. So that's what the objective of feasibility study is. Another point, basis for initial market and project planning. For the whole of this discussion, whenever I say market, what does market mean? For me, it's not that the place that you buy and sell any. No, what we will refer to as market is those that will buy from you. I take it again, those that will buy from you. That's what we refer to as market. The joke is that you hear people saying, please don't come and spoil my market too. They are referring to those that will come and buy something from them. So how do you know the initial people that will likely buy from you? It's your feasibility study that will give us an idea how many people come and buy from you. Like if you are setting up a business in Abuja, let's say Abuja is, we have about 5 million people. Okay, for example, I don't know the actual figure. If we have 5 million people in Abuja, 5 million people in Abuja and its environment, how many of these people will buy from you? For example, if you are going to sell only women clothing, how many women will buy from you? That's your market, that's your initial market. So what you need to find out is you divide it into how many women form part of these 5 million people in Abuja. And so you'll be able to get your initial market. And then interestingly is my last point here, which is in some cases, it gives you an argument. It provides an argument for you to close the business. Why this is important? Sometimes some people have closed some business and then they go and then to return in 3 years time and then they see so many trailers parked in front of that particular business. People are offloading, people are packing things. It means that the business was feasible after all. The business was a good business. It suggests that something was going on wrong there, either funding, either business idea, either management, whatever the issue might be. It shows that the business idea was not a bad idea, that you closed it when you shouldn't have closed it. On the contrary, there are businesses that you should close down. There's no need for you to continue those business. Like now, I learned that the youth in this Nigeria, or those that fall below the age of 35 in Nigeria, constitute 60% of the population. 60% of the population fall below 35, and you want to start a business that you sell cassette, audio cassette. I don't know how many of you in the class will know what cassette is. You put it in the radio. It's different from CD. It was there before the CDs came. You want to go into the business of selling cassette, whereas 60% of today's population are not familiar with what cassette is. Are you sure that's a reasonable business to go into? When you do your feasibility study, to tell you that you should close your business, there's no need to continue with that business. Move into what? I would have said move into CD, but I learned that CD is already outdated. I would have said, okay, move into DVD. I learned that DVD is already outdated. I would have said, okay, move into Blu-ray. I learned that Blu-ray is already out of fashion. So there's something else. What people do, they either stream or they put them in their high capacity memory, flash, memory card, memory, whatever. All right, so that's the objective of feasibility study. Let's look at some shortcomings, things that you should be careful when you are doing your feasibility study. One, don't overestimate market potential, because some people sometimes end up overestimating the market potential. Like we talked about 5 million now. Somebody wants to go into business of making sachet water or pure water, as you call it. And then he said, oh, 5 million people in Abuja. Fine. If 5 million people drink my water and I make 1 naira from them in a month, that means I'll have 5 million naira every month as my profit. Because you can make 1 naira. After all, one of them is sold for, let's say 10 naira, right? If one is sold for 10 naira and then 1 naira is your profit, the rest 9 naira for cost and the rest, and you are able to sell to 5 million people in a month, that's 5 million profit. Well, are you sure that everybody's going to drink your water? Are you sure these 5 million people drink your water? If you do that, if you assume that the 5 million living here must drink your water, then you may have overestimated your market potential. Another thing is, even when you are arguing, that's the second point now. You are arguing that, okay, no, everybody drinks water, water is life and all of that. Are you the only one selling? That's the next question you should ask. That's why we're saying underestimated competition. Are you the only one selling? Do you have all the skills of selling? Some people are better at selling than others. So you don't need to underestimate your competition. Don't think that, no, forget, the other people will not sell what I'm selling. I'll sell to these 5 million people. Is your factory even close to that? Is your factory close to everyone? Okay, allow me to go to the next point, which is planned capacity not compatible with market size. Capacity, earlier when we talk about capacity utilization, we talk about facilities. What you have planned may not be compatible with market size. What do we mean by that? You may have planned something too much for the market, or you may have planned something too small for the market. For example, your factory can only make, let's say, 10 bags of pure water or sachet water, and you want to serve a community of a particular estate. In an estate, they will drink up all of that in a matter of 2 or 3 or 4 hours. So you are not, your size is too small for that place. So when you are doing your analysis, you need to check that what your size will be or what your size should be will be able to meet what the market demands. Sometimes it could be that you now put up something too much for the market. Not, you don't need all of that size. You just need something small. Okay, the next point is management and manpower skill. Sometimes people, because they have the idea, they think that they understand management. And when they think they understand management, they tend to underestimate what management is. You can see someone can easily come up and build a hotel, but that does not mean that you understand the business of hotel. You may not be skilled at that. You might have the funding, you might have an idea of what a good hotel should look like. You have not answered the skills that are required for hotel management. Do not underestimate that. Whatever feasibility you are doing, you need to delve into that and see why it is important for you to bring in the knowledge of good management or some skills. Another point is we see that sometimes people do their market projection and it's based on insufficient data. They don't even know how many people are there. They don't even know who will buy. They don't know who is buying. Like schools now, most of the time, some people go and count children and think that that's their customer. That's not your first customer. Your first customer is the person paying the school fees, whom in most cases is either the parent or the person taking care of those children. So do not forget to base your projection on that. That is why when salaries are not paid, you see that we have problems with collecting fees. Shouldn't, who is using the education that you are passing on? The education you are passing on is used by the students, your school students, but they are not actually the ones paying. So when you are doing your market projection, you should factor in the fact that someone is paying. So sometimes it's just based on, oh, how many children are in this community, and you say, okay, oh, we have 500 children in this community, then they should be able to come to my school. Your data is insufficient. Another point is the availability of infrastructure. Sometimes we easily make this mistake as well. Like those of us going into farming, you will tell yourself that, okay, I need 20 hectares. And then the 20 hectares available is somewhere far into the bush. And here you are with your 20 hectares without looking at certain things. What are some of the things you should look out for? You should look out for, how do I move my produce from the farm when I'm done? After harvest, how do you move the beans? How do you move the maize out of that place? What if there's a river there? What if there are no accessible roads? So you should endeavor to see that you have checked out for infrastructure and other local services. The next point under this topic too is, why is it important? Why is it important, right? It's important because it will give us list in details all the things that we need for the business to work. And number two, it will look at logistical issues such as when you produce your item, where are you going to store them? How do you carry them to the places that people need them? So when you're looking at that, you can say, okay, can I hire a warehouse? Okay, can I hire a vehicle that can come every week and move my product out? So you are now talking about what you're identifying logistical problems, and then you are also providing solutions to them. Point three, the bullet point there is, we say it will help you develop market strategies. Market strategies help you develop market strategy. What we say market strategy is how do I approach the market. Maybe if you listen carefully to the presentation that will be coming up on Thursday on sales, you should be able to pick one or two things on how you will develop market strategy. Marketing or market is key. You need to find a way of getting things sold to people. You need to get a strategy of getting things sold to people. Is it for you to sell your product to those that you already know? Is it for you to even go to a new market to sell your product? Or is it for you to bring a new product into those that you have been selling? Well, you can't do any of this strategy. All right. Then let me repeat again. Number four, it serves as a solid foundation for developing the business plan. plan. All right, that's it about topic 2, which is feasibility, which is objective, shortcomings, and importance. So topic 3 is how do we go about the feasibility study. After discussing topic 3, we'll go to topic 4, which is components of a feasibility study. And we're done with section 1. We can now take a short break and go back to section 2. We'll try our best to see that we leave here by 12. Before you begin writing your feasibility study, identify how, where, and whom you intend to sell. Who are you going to sell to? Where are you going to sell your product at? And then how do you intend to sell your product? Who matters a lot, in the sense that your product has to be bought by somebody. So you're going to look at it from this other angle, such as, is my product meant for old people? Is my product meant for women? Is my product meant for children? Or my product is meant for young people? Or my product is meant for old people? Or my product is meant for rich people? Or my product is meant for middle class? Or my product is meant for low income? You have to give us those analysis. And where are you going to sell? Are you going to sell everywhere, or you're going to sell in selected markets? And how do you want to sell? Are you going to bring all together, or you just, for example, if for those of you that want to sell wristwatches, and you want to sell wristwatch like Rolex, I learned that a Rolex wristwatch is on the expensive side. I don't know the price, but someone hinted me that maybe I should, the list of them, or I should part away with 1 million. I was shocked. I need to carry a wristwatch of 1 million. I even learned people carry wristwatches of 30 million. Well, that is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about now, if you're going into that kind of business of selling such product, you need to identify whom you're going to sell it to. Unfortunately, you can't bring a wristwatch of 1 million, 3 million naira and ask me to buy, except you give me as a gift, because as an individual, and particularly my category, I might not need the wristwatch of that. So it's important you check out how, where, and whom. Like I've said earlier, the next point is for you to assess your competition. When you are going out, if you have your questionnaire for the feasibility study already, and you have put your questions there, design questions that will help you assess competition. Some of the questions are, what are the products in this market? Or who sells, which company sells this product as well? You can ask such questions. By the time you ask around, you discover that a particular name comes more in the lips of the people that are using the product. Then you know that that's likely the market leader. That's the person you should target. Look for his weaknesses, and then sell your product to those people based on the weaknesses of your competition. Another area is how much money do you even need to start? You can go into the internet, you can go to the market, you can ask for prices of items, you can do all of that to help you know how much money you need to start. But that's not the only thing there. Like a shortcoming. Some people will just say, "Oh, I need to buy the factory machines. I also need to rent a place," and they are done. And they say, and you ask them, "How much do you need?" They give you that figure. That figure is wrong. What you need is you need to keep that business running until it is established. You need money to keep it running. Money for what? Money for salaries, money for raw materials, money for some exigencies that are going to come up. That money, you need to estimate it and also add it to the amount you need to start the business. That's the total amount you need. That's how you go about your feasibility study. All right, that's it for topic 3. I can go to topic 4 now. But before I go to topic 4, there's something else you should be careful about, and that's pre-feasibility study. I need you to do a pre-feasibility study on your idea. Any idea that comes to you as you are doing the viability analysis, you could, if it's okay that you have gotten the preliminary analysis you have done shows that people are going to buy your product, then the next thing is, before you go into a full-blown feasibility study, we suggest you do a pre-feasibility study analysis. There are reasons why we're saying that. we say, okay, before you proceed with a full-blown feasibility study, you may want to do pre-feasibility analysis of your own. Why? So that you find out whether the proposed business is feasible. It will save you time and money and even energy, because you need energy to be thinking, you need energy to go and go round, and then you need time. It could take you a week, it could take you 2 weeks. Do you have that to spend on something that won't work? And then it could cost you money, because you don't just sit in your house and get all the information. Even if you are using only internet, it will cost you some data. Okay, we said a pre-feasibility study may be conducted first to help sort out relevant scenarios. If the findings lead you to proceed with feasibility study, you may have resolved some basic issue. What we're saying there is that the pre-feasibility study is not for nothing. The ones that you have done that will be useful as you go into the full-blown one, you realize that okay, you have already dealt with this area. Then the third thing is that sometimes you could even call in a consultant to help you do a pre-feasibility study. But we advise that if you are calling in a consultant, try and do it together with the consultant so that you see some of the issues that are being raised in uh, in the pre-feasibility study before you go into the big one. And even some of those issues will help you understand some dynamics of the business as well. All right, thank you. Can we go to the last topic now? Uh, the topic is we have 4 items. We have 6 items here, and this should be the minimum that we should find in your feasibility study report. Once you have done your feasibility study, how do we know you have done your feasibility study? Is when you bring us a report. When you bring us a report, then we will know. When you bring us a report, then we will be able to see your effort, what you have done, because what you have done here is what you are going to put down. So this we're also saying that these particular components of a feasibility study that we're telling you, we want you to we are suggesting that it be a guide in your design of questionnaire or in your design of your outing, so that by the time you are back, you can easily tick that okay, I've asked this question, I've done this thing, I've done that, and you can come down and do a thorough write-up. The first one, description of the business. Just describe the idea. What product are you going to sell? What product do you want to sell to people? The business about this, about that, selling of phones. We want to sell phones to social community. We want to, that's all. Number two, number two, three, four, and five is what I refer to there as the MMM, right? The 4M: market, material, money, and man. All right. So the market feasibility. When you are in the market, you should check out things for. You try to describe the whole industry. Try to watch out for the whole industry. uh, watch out for the whole industry. What is this industry about? What we do in this industry? What's going on in this industry? So you do that analysis, and you look for what your current market is. When we say current market, what we say? We say market means those that will buy from you, right? So what is the current number of people buying the product we are talking about? What's also the anticipated future market potential? In future, how many people will be buying? Recall, I also talk about competition. You bring it in. Who are the competitors? Who are the key performers in this particular industry? Then you look at sales projection. How much will you be able to sell? Uh, the potential buyers there, I think, is similar to anticipated future market potential. It's similar. Anticipated future is that in future, this number of people may buy, but potential buyer is today, these people are not buying, but they may end up buying. Whereas sales projection is these are the people that are going to buy, right? Okay, so you have all of that stretched out on your questionnaire as you are going out on your paper, and then you fill it so that it will help you write the report on this market feasibility. The next one is your technical feasibility. Here we said you are talking about material, you're talking about technology essentially. What technology are you bringing? How do you intend to deliver this product? How do you intend to manufacture it? How do you intend to transport it? The technicalities is what you discuss in this area. Technicalities includes even location. Where are you going to locate this business so that people can access the business? Another point is your financial feasibility. Like we said, how much would this thing cost? How much money we need for it? Where are we going to get this money from? In this particular training, all our mind is fixed on we're getting the money from Niger Microfinance Bank. Uh, but then, when like I started this discussion, I said that as your business increases, you might not need the one that is being offered by the microfinance bank anymore. You might need more money. So where are you going to get that money from? You need to write it in that feasibility study. Another one is return on investment. Return on investment is how much are you going to get back on this investment that you are putting. If you pump in 5 million, how much will be coming in every year? How much profit will you be making every year after pumping 5 million? Remember that for some people, they will look at it that, oh no, they should always have 5 million on hand, and then they will now count how much is added on the 5 million. It's not necessary in that model. In this model, we are looking at it from part of the 5 million could be the equipment that you have bought already. It could even be maybe even your rent, whatever it is. What we're saying is how much was able to come back on that 5 million, so that whatever we have on ground, if we value it, we should have another thing in addition to it. The the fifth one is organizational feasibility. What's your legal status of the company that you're starting? We will look at under business law. I think that comes up on Friday. We'll explore more on the various kind of legal status of a company, whether it's a limited liability. We're going to look at all of that. You will define what the legal will be. Then you also define the corporate infrastructure, or we'll call it simply put, what will be the corporate structure of the business? Is it going to have a GM? Is it going to have branches? Is it going to be located here? And another thing again we need you to look out under this is who are those that are going to manage this business? What are their professional qualifications? What have they achieved before? Like in the other explanations, example I gave, if you already have an existing business and you are bringing in another business, how much will it affect the other one? How will you be able to organize these two businesses to work very well? This is what we need to see under your feasibility. Then the last point is your conclusion. Put your conclusion, write your recommendation, and be very, very honest with it. Don't think that the person you are giving to does not read. Don't think that the person you are giving it to will not be able to put his mind to it. Some of them have tried that business before, so they know some of the loopholes. So you write your conclusion and you are good to go. Let's quickly bring out some highlights of these 4 points: the market feasibility, technical feasibility, financial feasibility, and organizational feasibility. And I close this one. All right, like I said, market feasibility, do market segmentation either into gender, men or women, or into class of income, rich and poor, or into age, young and old. Then bring up a strategy for whatever market you have looked at. For competitors analysis, find out how many they are, find out their strength, find out their weakness, find out their opportunities, and more so find out their challenges. Their challenges could be because they are so big. Their challenges could be even their weakness could be because of their size. So you come up with a small business model to satisfy those markets. You reach your customers earlier than your competitors who were better can do. Okay, then technical analysis. Where are we locating this business? What equipment are we using? Who is going to be our suppliers? Where are we sourcing our raw materials from? Is it local or foreign? And if it's foreign, we have to factor in days of shipping, days of clearing, and those other additional expenses. Your financial analysis is where you add money to both your technical and your market analysis. You bring the financial aspect first. Like here, we're bringing the financial aspect of the technical, such as what property, plant, and equipment, how much will they cost? How much is your raw material for 2 months cost? What salaries, your salaries and wages for 3 months, and other expenses. Then it's also under financial analysis that you do the full projection, sales projection properly. Under the market analysis, you just estimate how many people you can sell to. But here, you need to estimate what is the value. So how do you do it? You just multiply the price of the item by the number of items you likely sell, and you get total sales. Organizational analysis. This involves questions such as whether the system has enough support to be implemented successfully, like I said, and whether it brings an excessive amount of change, or whether the organization is changing too rapidly to absorb it. These are some things that you also have to note under the feasibility, under the organizational feasibility, to know whether you are properly organized. All right, at this point, you allow me close this topic and even this session. We have discussed the 4 items under feasibility study. So we'll go back to do the we'll go back to the next section, which is business plan. So can you answer these questions for me again? I've been talking. Let me hear what you will tell me. The way we answer, as usual, you go to the chat, you write number 1. Should every business have a feasibility plan? You put your answer by the side of 1. Then you write 2. You type 2, put full stop, and then write what's the relevance or importance of a feasibility study. So why is a feasibility study important? You write it. Then you write number 3, put full stop, and let me know, from this lesson, which aspect of the feasibility plan can you prepare? And number 4, which aspect would you require the help of others? Yes, responses have started coming in. Beautiful. I'm enjoying my class. Okay, Nelly is saying number 1, yes, every business you have a business plan. M7 Power, I don't have your name, is saying yes. And then Sulente Jr. Is saying yes. Okay, fine. That's the answers to number 1 is every business you have a business plan. Okay, Emmanuel Alabraba is saying yes. Okay, I'll be getting your answer. So those of you that have answered 1, you can go ahead to answer number 2. Put up your answers. I'll be watching them now while we wait to take the next section. My ladies and the gentlemen in the class, I'm back again for the second section. All right, I'm still getting your responses. Some of them are quite long. I'm getting them. Okay. All right. Because I promised that we should try and leave here by 12. Let's see how we can do the next section. The next section is on business plan, and there are 7 items on that business plan. 7 items on that business plan. So like we said earlier, your business plan should have these 7 items at minimum, and that's what we'll be discussing as each of the topics. So what are these sections? All right, the 7 sections are: one, you should do an executive summary. You should do a business description, tell us the mission statement. 3, business concept, strategy, and value proposition. Number 4, we need to have your market summary and competition. Number 5, give us your competitive advantage, give us your SWOT, give us your risk. Number 6, tell us about your resource planning, operational plan, market plan, and then your team, that is the people management, human resource plan. Number 7, give us your financial projection. Give us a summary of your financial projection. The details of how you arrive at this summary, please put them as the appendix. These are the 7 things. Let's quickly run through them. At the end of this section, I want to believe that if I leave you alone, you'll be able to come up with a very sound business plan. And I was able to, your scores have come out now. I'm seeing the scores, they were too high for me. I have people scoring 80, 90, 70, 80. Wow. I don't even have people scoring 10, 20, because I'd like to have people scoring that, so I'll know that I'm talking to people that are not familiar with the terrain. All right, thank you very much for participating in the quiz. Thank you very much for your score. I'm impressed with your familiarity with the terrain. The first thing is your executive summary. Just as the name goes, executive summary is for the executives. Who are the executives? The people taking decisions on what you are. The people taking decision on what you are presenting. Executive summary is a summary of all the items that you have written in the business plan. So what's the advice? Think about 3 advice I have for you only. 1, keep your executive summary as short as possible. Some people say 2 pages max, but I say leave it at 1 page. People are thinking too fast these days. They don't have time to go into 3-page write-up and all of that. Just 1 page, that's what they want to see. The next one is make your executive summary as catchy as possible. Make it colorful as possible. Something attractive, something somebody wants to read, and something that somebody reads, he will be able to take a decision. Then the third one is that write your executive summary at the end of the business plan. Don't try to start writing it. It's a summary. So it's summary of what? Summary of all that is written in the business plan. So bring it at the end. Even though it's the first thing I'm going to see on the page, after the title page, I flip it over, I'm going to see executive summary. For some people, I'll see content then before executive summary. Wherever you put it, sometimes some people are going to even put it merely after the cover. That's what you see, because that's where they know the executives go to. And this is what is the mind of most executives. Just read the executive summary and move ahead to know whether you should decide on it, whether you should read more or not. That's why we advise make it catchy. That's why we also advise right at the end of the list. And that's why we advise keep it very, very short. They don't have time to keep reading all the long prose you want. Next item. Business description. Describe the business as in so business is registered with CAC, as a limited, as a business name, as a partnership. It is being run by this person and this person. This person has started this project year. He has been his idea and this is what he thinks, blah blah blah. And then you go into the business will be located in place. It's going to cover these people and that people. You go to another area, you talk about what the product you want to sell. You want to sell item and want to reach them in. That's you describe the business. Describe the business. Then another thing we want to see there is that state the purpose or the objective of the business. How do you state the purpose or objective of business? With your mission statement. The mission statement is going to give us your purpose. That's what a mission statement essentially means. Some people are here to put up their vision statement. Vision is the desired future optimal state. That's what you're looking up in the future, what you intend to look like. Some people put it there. It's just so it's not as critical as the mission statement in a business plan. The business plan should have a mission statement. But your vision, you can tell us that you don't know what's going to happen in future. That's why you don't write it, and we are fine with it. All right, so the write up here will say clearly describe the business, and then we'll say clearly state your company's long-term mission. Try to use words that will help direct the growth of your company. Be as concise as possible. A statement, just be some people can write a whole statement, the whole page. You use a whole page to write the purpose of your company. Are you sure you may not have repeated some things there? Take a careful look at it. Keep your mission statement as concise as much as possible, even if you send it to a page. But most corporate bodies we see their mission statement do not exceed 2 sentences, sometimes a very short one. All right, the next item or topic is business our business concept, the strategy, and then the value proposition. When we say business concept, we're talking about what's the whole idea. What idea are you bringing in? And then this your idea can be tied to your strategy. It can be tied to your business model. So in this your concept, we want to see the technology you are bringing. Okay, for example, if you want to start a taxi business, you know that we have a taxi business is the business of moving people from one point to another, right? But traditionally, what do we have? You buy a taxi, and then you you buy a taxi, and then you you get drivers. They look for passengers, and then they give you your money back, isn't it? But is that what we do now? No. What is the new? What we have now? What we have now is the Taxify, the Uber, the Bolt. You use your own car. You just register with them. You be your own driver, and what they do is to look for customers for you. Period. So these two concepts are different, but all of them are in one business, the taxi business. Both of them are in the taxi business, but they are both different concepts. And that's why we say strategy. You approach it with strategy. The key word there is the meaning of strategy is how. What can you do? How do you approach a particular idea or deal? Then we want to also see your value proposition. Value proposition is just like a proposal. It's similar to a proposal to a lady. When you propose to a lady, what are you telling her? You are proposing value to her. What is the value? The value is not the marriage, it's what's behind the marriage. For some, you're going to tell them that you're going to bring love. Some, you're going to say you're bringing care. You're going to bring kindness. You're going to bring house. And some think that they're going to bring money, right? Even though it's crucial, it's just not a major variable. you how do you propose this value? Because I can tell you that I'm going to bring, for example, love when I'm proposing a marriage to a lady. What about the other man? The other man can as well come and say he's going to proposing love as well. So when you are proposing your value, or when you are doing a value proposition, it must be something that you are offering that your competitor cannot offer. You let us know that what you are offering is superior to what your competitors can offer. The four key areas are efficiency. You let us know that, oh, of course, I'll be doing this thing better than you. Or you tell us that I'm bringing quality that is higher than the other competitor. Or you even tell us that you're bringing speed. I mean, you deliver the products earlier than the other people. Or you say, okay, I'm able to source my material from very cheap places. The same material, I don't incur much cost. So I have to bring down the price. So these are the elements of value proposition. So propose a value in your business plan, what you are offering that others cannot offer. A market summary and competition. We have been talking about market. You understand that now. That's why we wrote summary, meaning that we expect that you should be able to summarize the market from your feasibility study. You talk about the past market, talk about the present market, talk about the future market, talk about the parties in the market, who is the leader in that market, whose product is being sold more, how the market share has been changing. When we say market share, is the number of those you are selling to. This year, you might sell to 100,000 people. Next year, it might reduce to 50,000, but the population remains the same. So your market share is changing. Sometimes you might sell 100,000 this year. Next year, you still sell 150,000, but the market has grown big. The market used to be 500,000, but the market now is maybe 5,000, and you just move only 50,000 instead of you moving to 1,000. So these are things that you have to look out and then write about them. You tell us all these stories, they give us background as to how you are going to face your market. Because you know these things, we will believe whatever strategy that you are bringing on board. All right, another one that I find very, very interesting is your competitive advantage. What is competitive advantage? Competitive advantage is simply, what do you have that others don't have? Ask yourself, what do I have that others don't have? You are making sachet water. What is in your sachet water that others don't have? Water is water, right? So you bring in two things. What are your unique resources and what's your core competence? When you combine these two things, your unique resources and your core competence, you have a competitive advantage. And it becomes a sustainable competitive advantage if people can replicate it or imitate it. So think carefully, look back at yourself, look back at your business, what is unique that others don't have? And then look at the things that you know how to do best. What are your core competence? If you are into driving, is it that you are able to engage what's your core competence, or you know the town very well, or you don't need to depend on Google Map, or you don't need to be asking your customer where is the place? Once you just mention a place, you know exactly. That's a core competence. Then what's unique about your resources? Maybe your resources are always very neat. Your car is very neat. You speak very well. You speak politely. Some people can be very harsh and decide not to learn how to speak well, so they don't have a competitive advantage. So when you combine your knowledge of the city and with how you approach your client or your passengers, then you have a competitive advantage. It also applies to other business. Look for your core unique resources. Look for your core competence. Your unique resources could even under it, we can have things like your unique selling point, meaning that this is what makes me sell my product. This is why people demand for my product. You can have all of that. Okay. SWOT. We want to hear your SWOT. SWOT is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We want to hear them. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? For you to easily categorize these things, you will observe that your strength and your weaknesses are internal issues. They are peculiar to your company, while your opportunities and your threats are open from external. That's what is happening around. Like the dollar price to the naira is changing, if it increases, I mean, if your naira, if $1 is going for say like 400 naira, it's not your company that is causing that. That's an external factor. If you are importing things, then that's a threat. Will you be able to import spare parts? Will you be able to do import some other more items? But on the other hand, it could be an opportunity. Opportunity for who? For those into agriculture. And what kind of agri product? Products that are exportable. Assuming they are exporting those items. When you export the same item that you have produced, you are likely going to get higher foreign exchange in exchange for your resources or for your products here. So we need you to analyze carefully. Write them in form of a list of your strength, list of your weaknesses, list of your opportunities, and list of your threats. The next point is risk. Nobody can run from this risk. Risk is just probability of something happening. So probability of something good happening, probability of something bad happening, all of them are business risk. Notice what I said. I said both of them are business risk. We have other kind of risk, which is pure risk or downward risk, and that means that those refers to things that when they happen, you only get a negative outcome. Like if your tire should puncture, you're going to get delayed. You'll not be able to go to where. Those are downward risk. They happen. But if you invest in a particular, you buy stock in a particular company, the price will go up, the price will go down. That's business risk. What we need you to do under this risk, we need you to highlight all the risks that you possibly face. We also need you to profile these risks. How do you profile them or map them? Map them into the ones that will likely happen, and then what is the possible impact? And then the ones that will not likely happen, what is the impact? If for example, the risk of your shop getting burnt, right? What's the impact? You're going to lose so much. But what's the risk? Shops hardly get burnt. Not often, maybe in some places. But around here, you hardly hear markets getting burnt. So your shop, the risk is low. It means it might not happen. So we need to profile all the risk that you would list for us. And then on the third column, let us know how you intend to fight this risk, how you intend to stop this risk, and how you intend to deal with this risk if they should happen. One of the ways is you're going to put fire extinguisher. Another way is you're going to build your shop with only concrete. Another way is you're going to use fire retardant material in building your shop. Another way is you could even insure your shop. So let us have all of that, how you intend to address the risk. All right, topic 6. Under this, after this, we'll go to topic 7. Resource planning. Resource planning, more or less, is like our operational plan. How do you intend to start the business? What will come first? What are you deploying? What are you going to use? Or what will you use in the meantime, and what will you use much later? In the meantime, you can say, okay, you will start person-to-person sale, and later you say you develop it into what? An online business. We want to see those your planning. We want to see how you have scheduled those things. We want to also see how you intend to use the money, how you intend to deploy the money. You might leave it in this column, in this section, or you move that into the next section. That is your financial projection or plan. How you intend to buy your items, you let us know. Give us your plan of how you intend to distribute your goods. What promotions do you want to put on ground, etc. Then you go to still part of this section is the team, which is critical. In fact, it's almost supposed to be the main part of this section, this topic, which is the people that you are bringing on board. We want to have it in this form. Give us an organizational or business structure or organizational chart showing who is going to be the head of the business, what departments you have, who will head this department, and who will be reporting to them. How many staff will you need as at now, and much later, how many staff will you need? Show it in form of an organogram. Then another column, and under it, do us a list showing what? Who the CEO will be, and And on the side, tell us his qualification, his educational background, want to know. But more importantly, in fact, we might tell you that we're not interested in the qualification, but put down his experience. Has he held a position before? How do we know if he's going to be able to do this job? And then you could put by the side as something to substantiate the fact that he can do very well. Like, has he had records of success in any other business in somewhere else? Let's have it there. So when we see that, we know that you have a robust team on ground that can carry this business forward. And then the last or the seventh item is the financial projection. We say the financial projection outline a high-level financial plan that defines your financial model and pricing assumption. Your financial model, remember Nelly and Williams, those their models is going to come into play here. We're going to see them in terms of finances. And before you start, write out all your assumptions. Your assumptions, because your business plan is talking about the future. So you must assume. When you're talking about future, you must assume. What will you assume? You assume the price that, okay, you intend to sell at so price. You assume even the price of your raw material. It's an assumption because that next year when you start the business or in a month's time when you start the business, prices can change. Another assumption is that, why we call them assumption is that you don't know for sure. You have not even gone to incur the expenses. So it's still at assumption stage. So write all of the assumptions for us. We want to see them. Okay, then as part of the attachment, or before we go to attachment, let me talk about the summary. The financial projection is I want to see summary of your cash flow, summary of how much will come in, summary of how much will go out, summary of how much will be left for the whole year. How would you get it? You are going to get it from breakdown of, maybe you do it weekly or you do it monthly. Is the last month that will give us what we expect that you have. So we'll call it a projected cash flow statement. Tell us also what they refer to as balance sheet, what they refer to as statement of financial position. I think that class is going to come up under, those discussions may come up under financial planning and bookkeeping that will be coming up, say, Wednesday, right? So they will throw more light there on what your financial statement should be like or what your balance sheet will look like. Balance sheet is simply your assets and then your liabilities as at a particular day. Which day is this? At the end of a year. It's usually a year we use. So we want to see at the end of this year what it will look like, at the end of next year what it will look like, at the end of third year what it will look like. Then give us your projected income statement. Projected income statement is a statement of all your revenue and expenditure. So you show us your revenue, you show us your expenses. Where do you get some of these things from? You're going to get them from your sales, from your cash flow projection. Your cash flow, assuming you will receive cash flow of 100 naira and you have sold things for another 50 naira. So your revenue is 150 because you have to add the two. But in your cash flow is because you are receiving only 100. That's what we will write for you as 100. So those are the three summaries we'll see here. How do you go into the detailed cash flow that will give you this information in the summary? On the screen is the 7 common items that we have. Cash flow, these are definitions. We'll be sending you this slide at the end of this presentation. We'll forward it to the WhatsApp chat where you can download and look at them for reference purpose, or look at them anytime you feel like looking at them. All right, so these are definitions such as purchase of fixed asset, payment for stock. So what I want to let you know here is under this detailed cash flows breakdown, you are supposed to have 3 layouts. You can use Excel, it's far easier. But if you are not, Excel is not your terrain, that's Microsoft Excel, then you can go ahead with writing it on the paper and then you transform it later. It has 3 layouts, like I said. The layouts are 1. we can liken it to like a bath or a wash hand basin. When you turn on the tap, it's an inflow. When you plug the drain, water will collect. When you open the drain, water will go. So your tap is like cash inflow. When you open the drain, the plug is like cash outflow. Your money is going. And then when you block it, it will, whatever collects there is your balance. So if your expenses are open all the time, draining all your money that is coming in, will have nothing left in the wash hand basin, nothing in your balance. But if it is plugged, meaning if you plug your expenditure, then we'll be able to collect some balance, which is the water that will collect in the wash hand basin. And if we close the tap, no more inflow, and we plug the drain, our balance will remain constant. But if we open the drain and close the drain later, you will discover that our balance will be reducing, but there's no way we can replenish it. So I would advise that to those of you using Excel or those of you using paper, create one column, then the other columns will be for your period, which is either weekly, monthly, or thereabout, or daily. Then for the income side, put up all that we expect to get in form of cash inflow, not income, sorry, cash inflow. Sales, that will bring cash in. Loan, that will bring cash in. And then you total them, we call them total income here. Then the next section, similar to this first layout, we have the expenditure side. Put up, it will follow the same format. Your purchases, your wages, your rent, your medical bills, and all of that. You write them as they appear or as they occur in that period. That is either January or February. Now, in this one, we have combined the income and expenditure. We have combined the tap and we have combined the drain plug to get what? And we have added figures to it. You can see sales, loan, we have added figures to those ones. Total income or inflow is 1.6. Expenditure in that period is we paid 800, we paid in form of purchases, in form of wages we paid 400. Total payment, out payment is 1,200. So let's bring in the balance section, which is the third column, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, this is what the third column will look like. I didn't talk about opening balance. So our total income is 1,006, total expenditure is 1,2. Our what we have in the basin is what? 400. That is 1,006 minus 1,2, 400. Then closing balance is what? 700. How did we get 700? The 400 here plus the 300 here gives us the 700. How do we have 700 in February at the beginning? It is this 700 that was closed in January that we used to start 700 in February. So, sorry, how did we get this 300 here? This 300 here is money that we used to start the business or anyone that we have had before. If we have nothing, we're going to write 0 here. Now, what do you need to be careful about here? What if this total income was just 1,002? Meaning what came in, we spent it. Then we'll have no net inflow outflow. So our opening balance will remain 300. What if this one is only 1,000 and we don't have any opening balance? Can we spend 1,002 from 1,000? The answer is no. So what do? We move maybe 200 to February here, and then try not to incur additional expenses. Where we will have problem is if this scenario continues to happen, total income is very low, expenditure is high, then the business is not workable. The business is not feasible. Don't forget, this can happen when you start the business originally, initially. That's why we say keep aside some other money that will help you establish the business. So that will be forming part of your opening balance. So that's how you run this thing. This is the third column. The first one is the income side. The second one is the outflow. And then this one is the balance side, the water in your basin. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. We've come to the end of this section. I will take questions from you if you have any. I want to appreciate all those that participated in the chat and all of you that listened, those of you that didn't disturb the class. and those of you that will make use of whatever we have mentioned here. So we will unmute now. That's the first thing that we'll do, for people to ask questions if they have, for people to make comments if they have. And then the next one is we'll put up a quiz for you. The quiz is going to help us know whether I have been able to discuss with you successfully, whether you were able to listen to me. The quiz will not take your time. If you can quickly finish the quiz in the next 5 minutes, fine. We'll see your scores and then we'll close the class. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Okay, thank you very much. Nelly is thanking us for the presentation. Thank you, Namsa. All right, I'll put up again the closeout quiz so that we can leave the class. All right, you can see we've put the link to the YouTube. You can listen to it much later if you want. All right, that's the quiz. It's on the WhatsApp now. You can attempt it from there. I've also put the quiz on the WhatsApp chat, on the Zoom chat for you to quickly attempt. All right, Mr. Emmanuel Alabraba, thank you very much. Thank you for appreciating us. So by now, I expect you will be answering your quiz, and shortly I'll return to the screen to close our class for the day. I'll hope to see you tomorrow again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 12. I'm not getting any question. I'm not getting any contribution. All right, for those of you answering, I'm yet to see your scores. Let me see your scores, please. It's already 12. All right, thank you very much for this section this morning. We'll look at your scores much later. The scores will help us assess your performance. Uh, the program manager will look at it and to enable him take decisions as to your certificates. Okay, so on this note, I would like to say do have a very beautiful day, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Enjoy.